Hey guys, so Locked is a thriller that came out in cinemas here in Australia today. So I basically heard nothing about this movie until I saw it was on in the cinema. There was basically no marketing, no promotion, and I found that weird, especially considering it stars Bill Skarsgård, who just came off his Nosferatu success. There's also Anthony Hopkins, who is a big deal, so I found it weird, and I went to an early screening, so when I found that my theatre was completely empty. Yes, I can put my feet up on the seat in front of me. So when I saw my theater was empty, I just thought, it's probably because it's an early showing. And I didn't really think too much of it. But unfortunately, the lack of promotion and the empty cinema does sort of affirm my fears that it was not a good movie. I went into this really wanting to like it, because it stars Bill Skarsgård, who is my Scream King. He is good when he is in the right role. He's really, really good in the right role. For example, obviously Pennywise. Barbarian is a great example of a movie that talks about social commentary in a really engaging way. And I just feel like his projects are very divisive, very hit and miss with me. When they're good, it's like Stephen King movies. They're really, really good, but when they're bad, they're awful. For example, Boy Kills World, The Crow. This falls into that sort of category for me. Bill is a great actor, like I've said many times now, but he is not good in this role because he is miscast. He did the best with what he was given, but I don't know, seeing him in the full Red Bull drinking, trackie wearing, vaping, street kid, street man type role, it just didn't fit him. So basically, he is a petty street thief who goes to steal a car, only to find out that it's an elaborate trap set by this rich man, played by Anthony Hopkins, and he's the villain, but I do feel like there's shades of grey. We don't have a clear-cut good guy protagonist. But then the villain, when you hear about why he is the way he is and how crime has affected his life and turned him into this evil Batman type vigilante, however you say it, you can sort of sympathize with him. So basically, Anthony Hopkins' character makes his car into this saw trap, like inescapable prison. And when Bill Skarsgård's character comes along and tries to steal the car, he gets trapped inside and tortured. And one of the ways that he gets tortured is by listening to yodeling music. Yes, yodeling music. I'm not joking. And there's also some things that I really hate in movies. There's the survivalist, having to drink your own pee, broken nail. I can't stand those things. But hey, there's a dog in this movie and it does not die. So I guess that's a win. So the movie is obviously centered on trying to tell a story that's focused on the theme of rich versus poor. And it explores this theme with all the subtlety of a bull in a china shop, seriously. And it's really unfortunate because they actually had a good point and a valid argument could be made for both sides of this story. And I know that that's not what they were trying to say with this. They were obviously very heavily favoring one side, but it could have been an interesting idea to explore how both of these men have valid arguments. And the dialogue was really cringy. For example, Anthony Hopkins' character, I'm just going to call him that because I can't remember his character's name. I don't think they even say it. But anyway, so evil Batman guy says at one point, "What are you going to do, cancel me?" And it's obviously that he's trying to be like the Republican stereotype against the poor Democrat. And it's just so played out. Like I said, it could have been an interesting idea to explore if done in a clever way. So instead of an interesting idea executed well, they made both men stereotypical caricatures, and they're trying to send a message about desperation driving crime while simultaneously reinforcing those stereotypes themselves. It feels like they were trying to do a sort of Robin Hood type angle with the poor man stealing from the rich to give to the poor, namely himself. And I love a good Robin Hood theme, and don't get me wrong, like on one of my favorite shows, Gotham, the street kid Selena Kyle is definitely my favorite character because that show does it well. It explores those sort of rich versus poor themes in a really engaging way, but here it's just done in a way that's so ham-fisted that it turns you off. So they're trying to tell a story about the state of humanity and how it relates to crime, but they need to focus on both sides and not heavily favor one side. And there was no subtlety or nuance to it, and for an hour and a half long movie, it definitely felt like it dragged at times. I would give this a 6 out of 10. Look, it didn't look bad visually, I'll say that. Bill, like I said before, is a good actor. He did the best that he could. So did Hopkins in this role. It felt like it had all the pieces to a good movie. It just failed to put them together. Let me know what you think down below if you've seen it. Please like, comment, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.